Will this recession see massive layoffs? The state of the U.S. economy appears to be dividing economists. This is, in my opinion, the most perplexing time in American economic history. I'm not noticing any indications of recession. We are going to experience a recession. For Americans, the number one worry is, will I lose my job? There are twice as many job opportunities as people are looking for work. That's never happened to us, so it's difficult to see how. At that rate of employment and income growth, we could be in a recession. Large corporations like Best Buy, Ford Motor, HBO Max, Peloton, Shopify, Walmart, and Wayfair are already announcing layoffs at the same time. According to a survey, 50% of businesses anticipate cutting staff within the next 6 to 12 months. You have to be aware that there will be additional layoffs. Is a significant recession in the U.S. economy currently underway, or is one imminent? And are there going to be a lot of layoffs? Depending on whether you focus on data from the gross domestic product or the state of the labor market, there is disagreement regarding whether a recession is occurring. Recessions are primarily caused by changes in the nation's output, income, and employment levels. In the grand scheme of things, a recession indicates a reversal of direction. A broad-based, ongoing decrease in economic activity is called a recession. The Business Cycle Dating Committee, a team of scholarly economists at the National Bureau of Economic Research, is also the judge of recessions. They examine a wealth of economic data. One indication is GDP, which by itself would indicate that a recession has happened in the first half of this year. Let's face it, throughout the first half of this year, there was no recession. Yes, the GDP shrank for 2 consecutive quarters. As a general rule, though, that is merely a general guideline. The GDP metric is comparable to a medical scan. It can identify the presence of a mass in your body, but not its kind. To determine if it's innocuous or truly something dangerous, you need to look at a lot more detailed information. Recessions in the United States can only be formally declared by the National Bureau of Economic Research, which they haven't done yet. Lately, there has been a lot of discussion. Recession is what we're in. 2 quarters of falling GDP have passed. It frequently occurs during a recession. There's a cause behind why people discuss that. However, the growth of jobs is very robust. Our unemployment rate is at its lowest point in 50 years. I mean, I'll take it in some ways, incredibly powerful. Still looking for work. At a high level, we're still printing fresh payroll job numbers. The most crucial factor is, well, do I have a job? Do my children work? Does my spouse work? I believe that those are the kinds of things that people consider. Fed officials keep a close eye on job vacancies to assess the recruiting situation. There were more than 11 million job opportunities in July. That indicates a labor shortage relative to open positions. It will be difficult for businesses to operate if it turns out there is a chronic labor shortage. Thus, we are living in an extremely intriguing economic situation where restaurants, hotels, and airlines are still in severe need of skills and are making hiring rushes. The unemployment rate hit a low point that was comparable to pre-pandemic levels in July 2022 at 3.5%. We've been preventing the pandemic slump from damaging the labor market and restoring stability to the economy following its extraordinary upheavals. In a record amount of time, we have restored full employment in the U.S. Then in August, the jobless rate increased by 0.2 percentage points. This implies that thousands of people are joining the labor force. There was a noticeable rise in the labor force participation rate. It is still, however, a full percentage point below its pre-crisis level. Furthermore, I believe it is critical for society as a whole that we put policies in place to encourage a robust job market and high rates of labor force participation. And that's not limited to what monetary policy can achieve. Other sectors of the economy, such as technology, e-commerce, and real estate, saw rapid expansion during the epidemic and may be returning to normal at this point. That might have grown and developed too quickly, and they must now slightly tighten their belts. Nevertheless, all of these headlines about recessions and layoffs are present. The percentage of workers laid off has continued to be below 1%. By July, that amounted to 1.4 million people. That is almost an all-time low. That's because it's currently very difficult to get fired from a restaurant or a hospital. Because talent is so scarce, employers are almost willing to give employees another chance. In an attempt to slow down the employment market, the Federal Reserve is currently hiking interest rates, which will result in additional layoffs. The tech industry is already experiencing layoffs at companies like Snap, Best Buy, Klarna, and Walmart. As more and more CEOs anticipate a recession, businesses like Google are now making suggestions about possible layoffs. However, according to experts, the top 4 sectors immune to a recession are information technology and computer science, government, healthcare, and education. The labor market is battling the Great Resignation at the same time. They're not leaving to avoid having to go to work. To get a better job, they are leaving. During July, 4.2 million people left their jobs and 6.4 million people started new ones. This results in a very quick turnover. extremely quick churn. This implies that a great deal more employment is occurring as well. Indeed, there is some degree of a cycle, although it is not strictly circular. Individuals are upgrading. People who change employment are seeing significant wage boosts. Salary increases for job switchers are significantly greater than for job stayers. Workers, especially those with lower wages, are beginning to gain some leverage for the first time in a very long time. That's where the significant salary gains have occurred. The whole body of evidence points to progress. The economy is still growing. It's difficult, but we're not in a recession. The biggest task at hand is getting back to a stable price environment without giving up the financial benefits of the previous 2 years. As of right moment, it doesn't appear that we are in a recession. But a lot of people are placing bets that by year's end, we'll be in a recession. It's difficult to recommend which signs to pay attention to at this time. The shift in consumer confidence is at the top of the list. The biggest predictor of future recessions is whether or not consumers and businesses lose hope that it will happen. If they do, it will draw back and the economy will enter a downturn or recession. As a result, sentiment confidence in particular, the Consumer Confidence Survey conducted by the Conference Board is an extremely reliable leading indicator. The longer inflation stays significantly above target, the more worried people are that people will begin to automatically factor in higher inflation when making financial decisions. It is our responsibility to ensure that this does not occur. Thus, in my opinion, it's critical to consider the quantity of available positions. The question, in my opinion, is how quickly and how steeply it will fall. They revert to the pre-pandemic population of roughly 7 million. In all probability, we're going to enter a recession if the unemployment rate increases by more than 4 or 5/10ths of a percentage point over 3 months. This is because it indicates that firms are laying off employees, which will lead to a fall in sentiment and a recession. According to the August Job Seeker Confidence Survey by ZipRecruiter, 25% of employed job seekers are less confident about their present position than they were 6 months prior. That is a record low. Businesses attempting to somewhat reduce the rate at which they hire. Hiring occurs all the time, even during a recession. Certain firms have tasks that need to be completed. According to a recent PwC survey, 52% of businesses have hiring restrictions in place, 44% are canceling job offers, and 46% are doing away with signing bonuses for new hires. Furthermore, about half of the businesses questioned are cutting staff overall. I anticipate a spike in layoffs. In an attempt to slow down the job market, the Reserve is currently hiking interest rates, which will result in additional layoffs. Thus, coming future, layoffs will increase. Did you like it? Tell us what you think of the video in the comments section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos.